Without further ado, we do have a series starting. In the bottom left-hand side, it's the blue Terran player to take us away. And to get everything started off, Cascade souL. The bottom left-hand side. Top right-hand side, it is going to be our red Zerg player from Team Clash. It is Reynor. A bit of ZvT action between two players that... I always feel like these two provide some fun games, right? We know Reynor, we know what Reynor does, we know Reynor can do things very well, etc. You guys don't need me to intro him at all, but when you talk about souL's side of things, souL is not afraid of playing longer games. He's not afraid to let this game go on a bit, even against somebody as good as Reynor. Definitely makes for some entertaining viewing. As we get things settled down, this Rax is coming through. And we do just have the hatch gas pool to give us a very regular opening for the first few moments, so nothing we have to shout and scream about over here just yet. As we do have our Ovi continuing on down to the bottom left-hand corner, so Overlord being brought down to the bottom side. Almost 1 million points on Reynor, apparently. Wow, 925,000 to this. To the 61,000. Honestly, like, these odds are crazy, guys. You guys don't understand how to bet. Like, when the odds on Reynor are that bad, you're meant to bet souL because the chance is it's more likely worth your time. The expected value is to bet on souL. Oh, you guys are terrible at point betting. I swear. Horrendous at point betting. I'm telling you right now. Couple queens and a few lings. Let's just have the Ovi coming down through the bottom side. Speed coming through on the main base. Just going to be having our Ovis coming around. And again, hatchery dropping in from Reynor up on the top side of the map. Well, Hellions coming through and just continue to get this going. Obviously, no single gas 3cc or anything along those lines. We are going to get to see the starboard in play early, and we'll see if souL can make things happen with that. Obviously, really does keep his choices open, and Reynor just says, I'm not having any nonsense, by the way. Straight into Overlord speed, so he's just going to make sure he will see 100% of what is happening in this game. Make sure he can keep track of everything going on. Do you have our queen just out the front? Link speed, Overlord speed, all of this coming through. The fusion core is about halfway done, and again, a couple of Hellions just hanging around on the top left-hand side. 2 more Hellions in the natural, and a couple of Marines are going to come forward and meet this first Overlord. So, Overlord already taking some hits, is going to get pushed away to the right. So, Ovi is out of here. Get out of here, Mr. Overlord. We don't want, we didn't want your kind around these parts at the moment. Yeah, but then the other Overlord flies into the main, and boom, the fusion core is seen. Isn't it funny that that's now our second fusion core on the same day? We really have not seen battlecruiser openings be that much of a thing at all lately, and now it's our second BC opening of today. Not from souL, we saw it from a different Terran player with casting Braddock against souL here earlier. He opened with a BC. I can appreciate mixing it up. You feel like you may be a bit of an underdog against Reynor. Switching the build, doing things he's maybe not expecting is a great idea, but that's why Reynor opens with the Overlord speed, to make sure these things will not catch him off guard, to make sure he will see what's up, to see what's happening, make sure he's able to just keep track of all of those things. The Hellions move through the center and rotate around to the top side. And he's going to come around to the left, and he's going to see our mules dropping into that natural expansion. The Baneling Nest going to be finishing soon. A few more Lings on the way, a couple Queens on the way out. The Stimpak of souL is continuing in right now as well. So bringing that up as a couple of extra racks get put into action right now. We do have a few Queens moving forward. Yo, Drew Berlin, thank you so much for the donation. I'll read that out properly between the games. Just wanted to say thank you so much. Let you know that I see it. As that BC shows up, so time to get active as we do see the first few drones already going down. The Spore Crawler taking a few shots of damage. A lair building from Reynor in the main base. The Hellions come in, trying to fight in towards the mineral line. Now Ling's looking for a surround on the Hellions. As that BC gets pushed back out through the upper left-hand side. A couple of extra racks still coming through. These are all going to rally forward, and the factory is going to make its way with the reactor to the bottom side of this as well. Another racks going to come into position here, and just going to be having our racks coming in, lair on the way. Extractors coming in around the bases. Obviously, bio from souL just means that he is going to play this one BC. I mean, this is what I expected from Braddock earlier, just to refer to that earlier game one more time. To give me something to kind of lean on here. It really is that one BC into bio is so common. One BC into mech had... Again, the mech actually won the game, but I don't think the mech won the game because of the build. I think the mech won the game because it took some bad fights. This makes a bit more sense. I mean, you teleport out now, this BC can still be a bit of an annoying harassment point, but the whole idea is now you're onto bio, onto that more mobile transition. You don't need multiple BCs to be harassing around the map like you usually would with mech. So I kind of like where we get set up to here. It's just going to have a couple of medevacs going to make their way off to the upper right side. The third CC sets up as well. Yeah, Hydraless Dan is our choice from Reynor. No surprise, Pillars of Gold is absolutely a go-to kind of Lingbane Hydra into lurker kind of map. It's especially something Reynor likes to do on this map. We know that for sure. There's our two medevacs. Try and move into the main base with not a lot of success. Coverage is pretty good at the moment. EC is taking down a few of these creep teamers right now. Ling's going to go down the right, the Banes as well, and the Queens back up towards the top. Again, a few more creep teamers going down. Marines just coming through, and again, a few of these creep teamers being picked away at to begin with here. It's quite a bit of creep going down at the moment. Our Hydra's coming through. Our Musco Augments is on the way. Our melee upgrade as well. BC teleports back once again up to the top side. So Lingbane just setting up a bit of a run by. Might be even hit from here though. It's kind of an awkward spot. There's the BC coming back into action, by the way, and this is why this BC is annoying. It's going to take units out of position as the main fight settles down over in this side. Yeah, good split apart from Reynor to set up for this, right? Being able to come in from two sides trivializes the defense. Biggest problem is still going to be this battlecruiser. It's still causing issues. It's still causing problems up in this top right-hand side. And with its kill, we are going to be seeing the bio. It's going to come straight in. I mean, that hatchery is going to go down. So the hatchery will fall. The Marines is going to lift up, and medevacs will try and figure out which way they want to go. Banes and Lings still coming through. We on the left-hand side of a bit of bio here, which is going to have Banes rolling at it. Well handled by souL. He still actually takes hits on the Widow Mines. So the Widow Mines go low HP. Obviously, that just means they are more easily denied now in, the build-up to a fight or so. So it definitely does have an effect. Doesn't quite get there in time to kill them off here. This is going to clear the way to move down the ramp safely. Overseer coming through. A couple more Widow Mines just got set up here, and I just don't know how you really deal with that. Reynor just ran down at the wrong time and didn't really have the split away happening in time to kind of make much happen. I think it's just going to lift off and away we go. continue to come on in. The Queen trying to put some damage out, and the BC obviously has the teleport out of here, but he hasn't activated it. So there goes the BC. I mean, that's a little weight off Reynor's shoulders, because he had to kind of just keep on looking back over and just be like, oh man, like, is that BC coming for me again? Now it's gone. Now it's handled. It's dealt with. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Not for a little while, at least. Extra command center coming through. Just going to be seeing our Lingbane Hydra around the upper left. Just going to see a hatchery going to be placed. Takes down the Widowmine on the left side. New hatchery upper left as well. And we see a bit of bio from souL. Going to go stimming through the center and just going to pick away at a few of these creep teamers. Queen goes down. Obviously a couple more creep teamers that will follow. I mean, we're not going to get aggressive into this base here. The Banes are going to try and meet the SCVs. They do get a few of them. 5. Thought they might have gotten a couple more. There's 8 in the end. Actually kills a lot of depots here. Going to really make the rebuild of souL that little bit more difficult to capitalize on and to really do much with. 5 is building in the main base. So we do have the... I mean, the entire map's really starting to be controlled here by Reynor, right? He's getting all of his bases up. I don't see what souL does to really punish any of these bases or to do much about them. He's about to have access to a 5th command center, so he can sort of float that into position. And even then, he just goes to the left-hand side, and I feel like that's the side which Reynor is likely to be able to jump on and to attack into anyway. Still just hasn't had much control in this game. Like, the BC I actually think did very well, but every other point of attack has been pretty well handled. Resources lost is not actually that bad for souL. It's also not that bad for it. It's kind of meant to be better for souL, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Right, Reynor's a bit behind in resource loss, but he should be further behind for the style that souL is playing. And look at the income graph. It tells you the tail as well. For the last 5 minutes, it's just gone unchecked. Right, there was no bigger push from souL. It's almost like he was already playing for the later game, which, in fairness, is something which souL, does quite a lot of the time. He plays for the later stages of the game frequently, but that's something which you, which is fine, but then you get into this position against Reynor, and I'm not sure how well that's necessarily going to end up going now. I mean, yeah, I'm honestly right now not really convinced. But in fairness, Reynor's not going to find a way to attack in just yet. He has to tech up himself, and that tech up is going to feature a few Vipers in production. It's going to see the Burrow on the way. 3-3 upgrades, I guess Adrenal Glands is long done. It's not actually, so Adrenal Glands should be on the way soon as well. Has one Hive Tech. So absolutely some things you can move in toward here is souL is going to start trying to drop around. He does get to 5 bases, so 5 bases get up and online. Going to see the Hydra Bane starting to move on through. Going to get on top of these couple of lips right away. 2 lips go down just like that, and these Banes going to roll in towards this Planetary. The tank in trouble as well. The Planetary is going to fall. At the same time, drones are dying across the map. I mean, the big part of this is Reynor gets rid of the command center. But there's a new one ready to go in just a few moments, so it should not really be a major problem. This one's already floating over as well. I mean, look at resources lost. Now it's starting to open up in souL's favor. So what this game is going to come down to, if it continues with this kind of trend for the next few minutes, it's these 2 bases. And Reynor just cannot let souL get these 2 bases up very easily at all. If you let these 2 bases in the bottom right-hand side come online, you're going to have a bad time. That's when souL wins this game, because he's trading efficiently. The whole idea from Reynor is you let souL trade efficiently and keep him away from any additional mining. You outmine him in the game. That's how you win this out. Fire falling back down the bottom. Lings, Hydras, and Banes are going to run through here. Ghost, tank. All of this in trouble right away as the Vipers come through. Nice little abduct on the Liberator. Hydras continue to do very well, and Banes roll toward these Marines. Hydra's getting picked off pretty much right away, and the rest of the bio just coming through. The Hydra's continuing to go down as a Spire sets up in the top side of the base. Bio Ghost back down to the south as our Banes gonna go rolling around the left-hand side here. They're just gonna go maybe think about taking this base down as well. Reynor still just has the money in the bank to make these trades, to again trade inefficiently, but make sure that souL is not advancing the economy at all. That's how things have continued for the moment, at least, as more Banes will settle down on the far left-hand side. Here we have got the Lingbane Hydra Force looking for potential attack down the left. Trying to snipe or so with that Ghost, so opens up with a little bit of damage out on towards the Hydras, just trying to keep things at bay. Widowmine takes down the leading Zerglings, and now when you take a turn, the Ghost actually might be able to get a few snipes off the EMP. The Vipers, not all of the energy gone. A good chunk of it, though, is we're going to be seeing the Banes continue to roll in. Those Ghosts have to keep on running. Now, there is Siege Tanks and so on here. The splash damage eventually will probably catch up to Reynor. He's going to get rid of the Planetary anyway, though. He will get rid of these few Ghosts and SCVs behind the mineral line again. The problem for souL will be is that Reynor's rebuild is just instantaneous. He's already maxed out again, and that's because we've been saying it for a while. He's on such a big economy. He is on 101 drones, so you generally will get into this position where this kind of damage is done, right? Like, you know, 101 drones is 101 drones. It's a pretty big deal. As going to be seeing our Liberator Sieges up the left-hand side. Spores get into position. Going to keep the Liberator at bay. It's going to try and relocate a little bit as our first Queen goes down. Other Queen's trying to fight. Tank and Planetary Fortress firing back on that. And even more Bane lanes of Reynor just morphing into the center here. A lot of drones going down. It's finally going to be handled. Again, it's just, you know, at what point does souL snap? At what point does souL's defense really break here? Maybe not with this attack, but it's just another round of units, which is likely to do well. Ooh, the Banes on the top side as well. There's a bunch of tanks sieged up, and the problem is you're not getting rid of those tanks very quickly at all. This is actually really not a pretty fight for Reynor. And this Planetary Fortress survived as well. He should have gone for the Planetary first and then gone for the Marines. I understand it was tempting, though. I was also looking at those Marines and thinking they are a hell of a target, right? So, I can appreciate why that one didn't go so well. souL is looking to try and compete for the bottom right. Remember, we talked about how that's what this game hinges on. If souL can get this bottom right side of the map set up and in his favor, then that's going to be a pretty big deal. I mean, that can absolutely turn this game around from a game where souL is just constantly on the defense, not looking good, to a game which is winnable. He's 9,000 resources ahead on resources lost. It's, again, exactly kind of where you want to be. As long as you can mine. We're coming here. It's going to be an abduct on a few of the Liberators. The Banes just come straight on through. They don't even know what to aim for the best. To be fair, there's not a lot of splash damage set up over here. Somehow the Widowmine doesn't really connect on much as Banes continue through for a while. I mean, Hydra's are going to continue to advance, and these SCVs and the backlines that were left behind. The Banes ignored them earlier, but they will start to target them now. Clean those up, get rid of the SCVs. Again, just break down the economy of souL. Yes, he's getting the bottom right up and running. And then, because he's getting the bottom right up, he's not allowed the left-hand side. Almost feels like at this stage, you want to just hard defend the left and take the bottom right when the left side mines out. And you play it kind of base by base, but it's tough because one base at a time is not necessarily enough. And it gets to a point here where third and fourth bases are mining out, so you kind of need a sixth base alongside your fifth. And that's fine if you take the bottom right both bases at the same time, but if you're still trying to defend this base, that's a problem. Obviously, he's not getting both these bases up, so not looking good for him in that regard as these Lings try to run in. Bio tanks continuing through. The Planetary Fortress is going to cancel. CC lifts up into the sky. Lings still in there. Hydra's coming through. I think this is just going to be enough for Reynor to push on in. And to clean up, Liberator goes down. Both the Liberators go down. The Orbital in trouble, and I don't think souL rebuilds from this one at all as Lings are just running out. Maybe not winning, but still trading well out in the bottom corners. And again, it's just a massive unit here that Banes don't even care about anymore. Marauders, tanks, whatever, we'll blow up anything that's in our pathway. That's the Baneling's current approach to this game, and it is working absolute wonders. GG from souL. Reynor takes game number 1, a game which he's been dominating for a while. Just had to keep on making the right moves, and he did just that to close out, take advantage, and to take that 1-0 lead. We go off into game number 2, as in the top left-hand side. Able to close out that first game in the end is the Blue Zerg player from Team Clash. Give it up if you're cheering on Reynor. Taking on the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player from Cascade. It is souL. Thank you so much. As we just at the start of the game, we'll make the shout out to, I just have to double check who it was, an anonymous user reaching level 10 on raid. Thank you so much. Alright, so guys, game number 2, and waiting to see, wow, how things are gonna start going this time around. Definitely interested to see what the plan may be. Is Death Aura. I mean, we go from Pillars of Gold, which Pillars is kind of a more aggressive map a lot of the time early game, but if you want to play it slow and late game, it can go there. Death Aura is obviously from the from the layout from the get-go. Typically the map which goes on a little bit longer, which is typically going to draw out into a later stage game. Of course, Reynor might play a different style. I wouldn't be too surprised if he wanted to mix it up for him to see some mutas here. I kind of mentioned lurkers at one point in that last game as well, and obviously we never actually got to see any lurkers at the end of the day, but they are something which could obviously be added on to. He didn't need lurkers, right? It wasn't a game where he needed the lurkers to push on in with or anything. And actually, it's one of those games where I actually think lurkers would hurt him more than help him. It's kind of weird, but as souL teched up into ghosts and libs and stuff and tanks, running lurkers into that isn't so good, but actually running banes in is much more effective. Because the splash damage of the tanks is the one thing that will do very well against the Banes still, but the Ghosts don't do very well against Banes. You know, the Liberators do not do very well against Banes compared to how they would do against Lurkers, so I preferred him just staying on the Ling Bane Hydra and saying, right, this is my way, this is my composition to fight back and to deal with this. I'm a fan of it, honestly. I actually think it was the right decision from being ahead in the game for sure. Alright, well, souL's going to open up very differently this time around with the second factory proxied up the right side of the map. Now, I remember Reynor opened Overlord speed last game. This time souL says, well, what if I try something tricky that you can't just scout, even if you do go for Overlord speed? This Blue Flame Hellion setup is something which we have seen a fair amount of in the past. It is something which we've been seeing utilized rather well, actually, from... I mean, remember, this build is probably about a year old right now. It really started to come around. Was it Katowice last year, I think, is what I'm thinking of. I think it was Katowice last year that we saw players like Maru really start doing this and popularizing it and making this a thing, this kind of hidden factory into Blue Flame. So yeah, this build kind of about a year old. Some people will transition into Bio from this as well, so we'll see what the setup plans to be here this time around. Reynor is very clueless as to what is happening, by the way. His information is absolutely minimal. He has no information really on the map. The best info he'll have is when he sees units walking into the front, but at that stage it's obviously going to be a little bit too late to really go into anything, reactionary against what's going on. So you're just going to have to kind of work with what you've got. The best he'll be able to do is try and buy some time to morph in extra banelings, perhaps. Honestly, if I'm souL, I just go with the Hellions, and I just kind of, you can kite banelings. It's not like these Banes are going to have speed or anything ridiculous, right? So, yeah. One Ling gets into the main. Okay, you know what? This one Ling might be a pretty big deal, because you see double gas, no starport. So is there a proxy starport? Well, where the hell is the proxy starport going to be? He's realized something is up. Reynor, what a Ling the Scout that is. What a sad affair for souL. He's done such a good job of just making sure Reynor has no clue what the hell is happening. Now Reynor is going to build a spine. Now he obviously had very few drones on the third base as well. He's actually oversaturating in the natural, so I'm going to say, well, I mean, just one Zergling picked up all the information needed to turn this around. Hellions come through. The spine is going to move down to the third base, trying to open up the mining over here. And obviously at this point, you can see souL's even building a bunker at home. He's like, wow, this is not working too well. Let's make sure I can defend at home if necessary. Hellions, are they going to commit in here? This is what Reynor's kind of questioning. He's like, are you really going to do this? He didn't believe it, right? He didn't kind of dive in these Hellions to stop them. He's like, if you want to get in, you can get in. He knows if they go in, it's going to be the end of the Hellions. So he probably, I mean, 6 drones is nice to lose, but he probably doesn't mind it because now at least it's only 6 drones and those Hellions are dealt with. And yeah, there's a few Hellions still on the map, but that's really minimal compared to what there was before, so it's not really a threat any longer. And so Reynor can comfortably drone. He's immediately going to go up to above 60 workers here, saturating this third base. You can even start thinking about placing the fourth base on the follow-up to this now. We've seen the Spire is setting up in the main. Can someone explain the benefits of the factory position to me to this one? The whole idea of this factory was just to hide it, right? You don't want him to know you've got a second factory on the map and build in blue flame. So it's just completely hiding the idea of the fact that this is going to be this blue flame attack, which Reynor was able to figure out in the end anyway because he got a Zergling by. Spire's going to be finishing the main. I did mention we could maybe switch it up into mutas this time around. It's exactly what Reynor's going to do. And from these mutas, we'll be able to go into melee upgrades finally as well and get on track with those. I mean, he's going to be quite far behind on upgrades. The one thing we'll be able to look at in souL's favor here in this game for quite some time as well, right? This 1-1's very far ahead. That should lead into a 2-2 advantage. His armory is already done, so as long as he doesn't make a mistake there. So far, looking all right for souL, honestly, in terms of how this is likely to continue playing out. We do have the couple Marines starting to unload on the left-hand side. The mine there as well. So again, so far, so good, I would say. Let's try and put on a bit of pressure. We just show up for the first time, and that's where souL is caught a bit off guard. There's zero preparation for this, so that's definitely a little bit costly as we see the mutas flying in. Quite a few of these SCVs will start to fall, so yeah, a lot of workers start to go down. Some Banes crash through for 12 for the drop cleanup. Now we're at 12, 14 workers killed. That's a pretty fantastic start to the middleless harassment, huh? 14, 15 workers go down. Reynor's already feeling comfortable in this game for sure. Again, the upgrade disadvantage, though, is something to keep in mind. That's absolutely something that will remain fairly apparent here in this game. Absolutely expect that to be the case. Just get down here. They're going to get rid of a couple of these depots, so picking away at those, and there goes Marine, Mine, RO8 of Force up the left-hand side, getting rid of all these group tumors. Let me just make a dive in, and a few of these units at the front already going down as well. This armory now in a bit of trouble. Turns it around, gets rid of a Widow Mine. I mean, again, the muta's just controlling any sort of reinforcements and just making sure he knows. He can see how much he's keeping back at home, and he'll know this army is out here as well. souL's going to try and put a bit of a drop up into the main base, which in fact is nothing in position immediately for, but Reynor can respond immediately. He sees everything on this left-hand side. His vision is perfect with the Overlords. So that will not be allowed to unload, and now you run in and you actually just commit to the fight. Obviously, a few units out of position, reinforcements never allowed to come across the map. The mutas stop you from lifting up easily. So you're kind of committed, and you can see this medevac feels it's committed as well as it flies up through into the natural expansion to try and get some more done. Lungs and Banes will come through here. They're going to grab a few more of these Marines. This drop is shut down. And I gotta say, honestly, the supply advantage from Reynor is really, really beginning to add up at the moment. A little bit of extra creep out the left-hand side. The mutas continue to rally around. The right hatchery will set up, and just seeing the tech lab. Our right side is... Well, Reynor actually doesn't see that. It's kind of funny. It's kind of amusing, right? Well, the mutas will come in. We're just going to see the refinery being picked away at. He's got to be careful of those widow mines, but I think he sees them. He knows that they are there, so that's something that he's going to keep in his mind now, and be just a little bit more cautious of. Oh, come on. There's no way he's going to dive onto a Thor when he just saw the widow mines. I guess I appreciate the effort, right? In a way, it's like, you never know. Maybe he didn't quite notice them. Maybe he's back at home macroing while these mutas move there, and he just didn't quite pay attention at the right time to notice it. I guess I don't mind the idea in that regard. I don't mind this either for Reynor, though, right? Just show up, and that's just free kills. Now the Thor's a bit out of position, really. Probably help with the mutas. They're just going to sit overhead and get rid of a ton of SCVs. Okay, a few mutas probably go down, but very affordable losses for Zerku. No, Reynor, I was just saying how this was not going to happen ever. No, are you kidding me? He's focused on the bottom side. That's why the mutas are fighting in. He's down here already denying the base and backing away. That's why the mutas were... I don't think they were really controlled under the Thor. I think they were kind of just trailing onto it as their next targets. You're killing me though, Reynor. I'm trying to make you look clever. I'm trying to, be like, this is never going to work. And it actually kind of did. So now you make me look like a fool, do you? I get it. I see how it is. I get it. I get it. Slings and Banes still coming through. Our +2 melee upgrade is about to complete. Still going to see the Ling Bane down the left-hand side. Some extra Banes morphing. Just going to be seeing the mutas coming into this here. He's going to go for the Tech Lab. Doesn't quite manage it. Mutas back into the center. More Banelings heading out on the bottom side. 4 crawlers. Doing some good damage. Medevac taking a few hits. Widowmines will take a drone down. As I like the idea from souL, but at the end of the day, it's just not really doing enough. You can kill a couple drones, sure. Does Reynor care? Not in the slightest. He's running units up this ramp again. souL's just like, yeah, but I can't deal with that at all. GG, get me the frick out of here. Reynor has too much, and Reynor takes the 2-0 over souL into the round.